mentioned that you did work as a journalist in Bangladesh.
Yes.
Tell me how that shaped your career as a filmmaker. Oh, tell me where you were working in Bangladesh and your background.
So before my master's, right after my undergrad, when I was confused in the sense that I wanted to do my master's in media school, but I couldn't go, or I couldn't, I didn't have much cinema-based master's programs around me. So right then, in the morning, I was teaching in high school, and I was taking a break from academia in the sense of as a student. So I finished my undergrad, and I started working, as we need to work as well to survive. So I started teaching in high school, and that ends by noon, afternoon, like by 2 o'clock. Yeah. And then I was free from 3 to the whole night. So I was looking for another job. And then I started working for newspaper, national daily newspaper. It was named the Daily Observer. And it was a national newspaper back in Bangladesh, quite renowned there. And I started as a trainee and then as a sub-editor. Then I became as an assistant editor later on. I worked for newspaper more than 6 years. Around 7 years I worked in the newspaper industry.
During this time when you were editor, were you also writing some stories?
Yes. I was also into filmmaking at the same time because I was making my own films and funding my own films. So as I'm funding my own projects, so I was making shorts mostly, short films. And I needed to financially support myself in that sense. So yeah, in the morning before my master's, as I said, after master's, I left school and I started teaching in university. But the journalism profession is something that actually trained me in media because I didn't have an academic background. But when I was in the storytelling in the form of news industry, that was a quite communicative grooming that I had, I would rather put it in this way, because I had to meet people a lot, interview, extracting stories or finding stories from meeting different people. And I was also the editor of literature pages because I had a background in literature. So alongside the political news sections, I was also in literature, and I started interviewing a lot of filmmakers that time as well. And my career started as a scriptwriter. That's how I got to know various film directors who are looking for stories, and I used to write stories for them, and I used to submit my scripts, and later on I started selling my scripts. So I sold a lot of scripts for the professional industry, for TV series, for television series, episodes, and stuff like that.
Personal scripts, or you were selling on behalf of the Daily Observer?
I was selling on behalf of me only. Because of the relationship that I could build through newspaper with various different professionals.
And this is the time you were still working at the Daily Observer, right?
Right. Yeah. Wow. I was working as a teacher, and I also started writing scripts at night, and I used to sell those scripts to the filmmakers. Depends on the kind of story they're looking at. They may used to brief, this is the story I want, now write a script out of it. So I just write a script out of it. That's how the practice of storytelling happened.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And it aligned well, I would say. Luckily, it aligned. Yeah. My family became very appreciative later on when I became a faculty. When I became a faculty at Notre Dame in Bangladesh in 2016, then their perspective changed. They started understanding. So that's what I can tell to the audience, or who are young practitioners, creative storytellers, but struggling with this approach, this balance of professional passion and personal family relationship. One day it will all come to you. It will be aligned. If you stick to the goal, if you are confident about your own belief and your passion, then things become normal at a point. And later on, they understood. They got. But the only regret I would have is, so I lost my dad in 2017. Yeah. So I only could see him a little happy 1 year only, because I started my teaching in the university only in 2016. So only 1 year, which was not enough. It takes time to...
So before that, you were not in communication?
We were, but it was not, I won't say it was...
Friendly?
Yeah, friendly in the sense, he was worried. It's not a negative, I'm not putting anyone in the box of a villain. You know what I'm saying? So parents are worried about our career. They want us to be happy, successful, established. And the kind of industry that I chose to be in is not historically anywhere in the world that much financially successful. You know what I'm saying? So only minority, a few people could lead to the stairs of success. Most of the people struggle for 20, 30 years. That's the world is, that's what these creative professions are. So that's why I would say they were extremely worried. And that worry could create some sort of toxicity in the environment, like wherever we are, but later on, when I became a faculty, people started trusting again. Family relationship got better. So yeah, that's how. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, but I'm happy that at least for, even if albeit for a short period of time, you were able to, connect with your father before he left the face of this world.
Yeah.
And so, when especially boys, even girls, parents are always, when you reach a certain age, they start looking at you in terms of, we need grandchildren and stuff like that. We are looking, they're looking at, a daughter-in-law and stuff like that. So who is Shams in this whole area is, and in film, you meet a lot of people. People will want to know, is Shams single? Is he dating? Does he have a family?
Yeah. So I'm very workaholic as in my personal life. That's the thing. I won't say that from a negative context. It's a very positive thing that keeps me productive. It keeps me healthy. I'm health conscious. Like I maintain proper diet and I have a proper plan of nutrition consumption. I like sports. I do play something, or at least I go to the gym. In my high school, I used to play basketball and tennis. And it was free because I was in a Catholic missionary school. So, by the way, Notre Dame or missionary institutions in the US is very different than mission institutions outside US. In the US, these are private institutions and could be expensive. There, it's different. There, it's a more charity work. So it's all almost free, I would say. So I'm glad and blessed that I got that opportunity to be in that environment, and I do sports a lot. That's true. I used to I played chess in the nationals under 16. I was a chess player for a long time under 16. After 18, I only play chess personally with friends sometimes if we hang out. But yeah, that's all. And then personally, what I would say, my family, my mom is there, my younger brother, that's it. At home in Bangladesh. My brother just finished his undergrad, my younger brother. And he's also in media, journalism. He finished his undergrad in journalism. And then, that's it. I work a lot, that's true. Even that's a practice that when I left home first, when I was in late teenage, and I started working to survive. And also to to have something in career. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is, highest in my life at a point, even after my undergrad, I did 6 jobs at the same time, selling hours. Even if I get a 2-hour window, 3-hour window, I would sell it somewhere. So 24 hours, I kept myself busy. That was a point in life. Is the pandemic that helped? I would rather say for me, to take a pause, to breathe. During the pandemic, I could only teach on Zoom. That's it. And all other works that the reason I never wanted to be in the US, because I was doing well in my homeland. That's what I would say. Well, in the sense of I was doing animations. I was also working for advertising. So I had my own agency and production house. So I was getting clients. I did projects for UNDP, European Union, small campaign social awareness projects, advertising projects, documentary films, animation films. So those were big budget productions. And those were not my personal productions, but those were kind of projects that I was doing and thriving in that sense. And I was also teaching in university. So I never felt that I should explore more potential. It's the pandemic that changed my mind. Okay. That I thought there are a lot of things to learn. And I could breathe, that space, those 2020, especially the year 2020 changed a lot of things.
Do you think like your workaholic life like tons of women? What can you say?
Sorry?
Do you think your workaholic life, like scarce of women, potentials and
Okay.
stuff?
Now, I have a partner here in the US right now. And then she's also in film school, doing in the PhD program. I find myself, yes, first of all, not having enough time, being extremely productive and always being workaholic could be a red flag for many people to be in relationship, because the only thing that we all expect in relationship is time. Nothing else, you know what I'm saying? So it's not anything else. It's about how you're invested with time. So in that sense, it scares people. If your partner is not giving time, the partner is absent. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that not everyone will understand unless they have gone through similar environment or understand the way this kind of people, this kind of as in who are in the academia as well as creative thinkers. So let's put it in this way. Creative people think in a very different way. Their mind is very absent because their mind is always working and thinking about something. Mm-hmm. So their mind is always constructing or looking for something, and it's never static and idle. Even if you see them sitting there and maybe having a cigar or pipe and having a drink or wine or just sitting there reading a book, they're actually thinking 1,000 other things at the same time. But you may see them at the same time idle for 7 days, but actually it's not idle. So once you know how this kind of people's brain functions, it would be good to be friends with. So that's how I would put it. But not most of the people understand how the brain functions of this kind of people. So yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. It's good hearing that. Yeah. And that has been Shams. When we come back, we will get to hear what advice he has for the young people looking in film. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
So are you currently looking into working into any projects or films in the near future?
I have some projects in mind for the future. I would say near future, the film that I just mentioned on climate refugees and displacement who work in the trash industry, in the recycling industry in Bangladesh, that I visited and documented the stories. So I'm working on that. That would be a documentary film. If I can, craft a story out of it. I'm not sure yet how the story will turn. That will take more than a year, this story. So by next summer, hopefully I can come up with something. I'm not sure whether it will be a short or a big one, but let's see how the story goes. And that's one project for the near future. And for far future goals, my plan is to have platforms for people where cinematic storytelling is there in the passion, but they don't have proper equipments or screening opportunities. There are places like that. And to have kind of a film research and screening facility back in my village where I was born and grew up, to have some training facility as well so that people can learn how to use different technical gadgets and tell stories. And the reason for this kind of goal is, I would say, that's a bigger goal. Like by the end of my career, hopefully I could be able to have something like that. The purpose is to enable everyone as a storyteller rather than me or you or someone else going there and filming something. I wish that the locals can film themselves or can tell their own stories or can have their own creative or aesthetic approach rather than depending on someone else from the outside to go and be the voice for the inside. It's better they can speak their own voices, and I got to figure out how to do that, how to have that, whether in terms of grants, in terms of center. And the first thing to start with is, I would say, the way I felt when I was growing up. Having access to watch or read. And that is not easily available. Yeah. The first thing is, it's not what I want to do. First thing, I need to know what people are doing around the world. Then I'll come across how will I do what I want to do. But the first thing is to know, and that's what I struggled during my early age. I didn't know what other people are doing because I don't have maybe access. I didn't have access to, which I'm grateful that now I can see what other people are doing, whether in Europe, whether in Africa, whether in South Asia. Now I have access to all the libraries in the world and stuff like that. But when I was young, I didn't have access and didn't know what other people are doing. So I want a platform or a digital library for cinema where people can see and have access, people who don't have usually the access. So access to knowledge is my
Absolutely.
primary goal, I would say. Everyone should have access to knowledge.
That's fantastic. Because what I know is that there's a lot of untapped talent back, back at home, back in the roots where we come from, because of lack of resources. And so if people can be provided for resources, I think that can help them, tap this talent that rather goes into waste here. And, when we're talking about film, something we didn't talk about, what can you say about budgeting for making film?
Budgeting? So I always tell to young who are just starting their career that try to make films with zero budget. If you can do that, that means you're focusing only on the resources you have, whether it's a phone, whether it's friends around you, and people made it. It's not like even successful and established people used to do that as well. Rather than thinking of budget as an obstacle, think of the resources you have and what kind of stories you tell based on your accessibility and resources. So focus on the story only now. And that's why my suggestion is about budgeting. And then applications for grants. There are many festivals around the world and academic places where you can apply for grants based on the idea, based on the urgency or the immediacy of the project. You can access grants, but there are certain ways and styles of writing grants. That's a different skill set. So usually creative people may not be trained how to write grant papers because that's a totally different skill set. But once you can crack that, that's another resource for budgeting. But the first suggestion would be, that's how I tried. Like whatever resources I had, try a zero budget filmmaking. By zero budget as in, don't overthink and think of budget as a limit. Try to craft stories, focus more on the stories that you can get around you without forcefully designing a set, traveling to an exotic location. Don't think of that as a footstep. That's what I would say.
One thing that we actually haven't talked about is, transitioning from Bangladesh to the US, the differences in the film industry. I think they're very different.
True. Or
they're similar. Only you can tell us.
Yeah.
What can you say about that, the differences? Where do they connect? And how do you see yourself fitting, or where do you see yourself fitting in this whole pendulum?
So I would say, first of all, when we talk about the industry, it totally depends on the audience. What the audience is consuming, that's what is being produced. Now, in the US, it's a bigger market. Here, there are, I would say, different clusters of audience, different groups of audience. Academic, that's an audience. Festival goers, that's an audience. Theater released films, which is Hollywood, that's a different set of audience. So what I'm trying to say is, we have a variety of audience in a global market or situation like this. That is absent, obviously, in small places like, or countries with lower population or lower space geographically, like Bangladesh. So the audience is there only Bangla-speaking people of that land. So obviously there is a huge difference because the audience demands and expects different stuff there and here. And by here, I mean, I'm not saying here they don't make Hollywood or commercial or mass entertainment stuff, but there are different kind of audience as well here. So that's what I want to tap into. As an academic, I can explore that aspect here, which is less available in terms of audience there.
That's really interesting. And as we wrap up, Shams, what can you tell the young people who are looking into fitting into your shoes and maybe getting into film? What advice can you give?
My only experience when I started this journey that I'd like to share, the experience that I'd like to share with everyone. It's not only I started. There are so many friends we started together. And me and a friend 1 or 2 out of 10, let's say, they dropped the passion right on the journey. And that is the thing. If you quit, you quit. If you are sticking into it, doesn't matter how much the struggle is. If you're sticking into it, there will be a day when you'll be proud of it. The only game and only trick is you got to stick into the game. Because there will be lots of moments when you would like to quit. There will be lots of time where you think that quitting is the best solution. And the only game is you cannot quit. If you stick to the game, one day you'll be the winner. So that things will happen.
Fantastic. It's been really a pleasure having you, Shams. I've looked for you for a very long time to have you here on set, but I'm so happy that I finally got to talk to you. And Shams, my oh my, I've had a good time here on set, and I can't wait to talk to you again.
Sure.
Viewers, that's where we wrap up our episode of The Voice Watch Diaspora for today. I've been your host, Caroline Obuya, and with Shams here, it's only the beginning. And Shams, of course, I look forward to hosting you again on this set.
Love to.
Yes, I can't wait. So that's where we wrap it up. Till next time, see you again.
Thank you so much.